Good afternoon, one and all. I'm very happy to see you once again. Okay, now I want to tell you one small story. Is it interesting or not? Will you listen to me or not? Definitely everyone likes story, no? So now I want to share a small story with you. Okay? So this is a story regarding two best friends, that is Sita and Geeta. Okay? Sita and Geeta were playing in the park. So what happened suddenly? Geeta fell down. She stood and suddenly told, "This rock made me to fall down." So she told to Sita, "See how bad it is. This rock made me to fall down." But Sita told, "How a rock will make you to fall down?" Then Geeta said, "Everywhere where I see there are rocks, and these made me to fall down. Wantedly they came in my way." For this, Sita laughed at Geeta and said, "How can a rock move here and there, and wantedly how can it make to you to fall down?" Then Sita once again she told, "See, look at the rock. Is it moving?" asked Geeta. Geeta watched the rock carefully and said, "Yeah, this rock is not moving. Then how did I fall down?" Then Sita said, "This is a non-living thing. It has no life, so it can't move from one place to other place. We are living things. We can move from one place to other place." Got it? Then Geeta realized, oh, then she said, "I might have stepped on the rock, that's why I fell down. So this is my mistake actually. I'm sorry," she felt. Then finally Geeta and Sita, they went to their home. From this story I want to tell you only one thing, that is, rock is non-living thing, right? It has no capacity to move from one place to other unless and until some pressure is applied on it. Yes? So, and Sita and Geeta, being human beings, they are living. So next I want to show you one slide regarding this. Now look at the slide. So here there are a set of living things on one side of the slide, and there are a set of non-living things on the other side of a slide. Here in the living things you can see a cow, a camel, elephant, rabbit, and a family of human beings. Got it? So these are all living things. By observing the picture itself we can say these are all living things. Next, coming to non-living things. Here is a chair, a table, here is a lamp and a car. So all these come under non-living things. So here all the living things you can see they are eating, right? They are moving, they are jumping, and they are laughing. Yes? So there is some movement, there is some sort of food the cow is eating. So all these activities are done by living things. Whereas here these non-living things, they cannot move from one place to other place, like a chair and the table and a lamp. But a car can move. But can it move without the help of the fuel? No, definitely not. So even though the non-living things they move, but there should be some reason, like a fuel is needed for the car, or we may push anything, or we may pull anything, or we may pick up anything from one place to other, and we may place it somewhere else. So these are the examples of living things and non-living things. Got it? Now let us play a small game, right? Are you interested to play a small game with me? Wherever you are, and from that position only you should play a game. Let us all play one game. Okay? First, listen to the rules of the game. What are the rules of this game? The time taken should be only 1 minute. What is the time taken? Only 1 minute we should take to play this game. The second, you should not move from your place. Okay, you should not move from your place, means from this room to that room, or from inside to outside of the house. Okay, wherever you are, be comfortable, sit there and play the game. Got it? Third, what do you have to do? You have to point out any 5 living things, any 5 non-living things from the position where you are sitting or wherever you are standing. Let us start the game. Okay, I will count 3, 2, 1, and after that within 1 minute you should gather or you should point out at least 5 non-living things and 5 living things. Just you point out, that is enough. Got it? Okay, 3, 2, 1, start. Here I will also do that, the same thing. Okay, marker, duster, paper, tissue, mouse. Okay, I pointed at 5 non-living things and I am going to point at 5 living things. Myself, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I pointed at 5 living things. That is 5 members are there around me, so I am pointing 5. So my game is finished. And what about you? Is it done? Okay, this is funny, right? Okay, by this I want to say how easy you can detect a living thing from a non-living thing. So further we'll move what makes the difference between a living thing and a non-living thing. There should be some difference, no? Why we are moving, why we are eating, okay, why we can share our experiences, why we can talk, okay, and there is a family. Here you can see a cow is eating. There are lot of differences between living things and non-living things. Simply you can't tell this is living and non-living without any reason, right? There is a reason behind it. So we will come to know what is the reason behind this. Got it? Yeah. So the reason behind the living things and non-living things here is life processes. What? Life processes. Got it? So life processes are the basic differences between the living things and non-living things. Then you might have asked the question, what are these life processes? Life processes are the basic functions performed by the living beings. Okay, these are the basic functions which are performed by any living organism which live on this earth. That is, in order to survive on the earth, the basic functions performed by an organism are known as life processes. What are they? They may be nutrition. We eat the food, right? Nutrition. We breathe in and out, right? Respiration. Transportation. Our blood flows now within us. So transportation. Movement. We move from one place to other. Is it not? Yes, definitely. And excretion. What are the waste materials are there that are excreted through our body? Like for example, in the form of sweat, the excess salts and excess water is excreted in the form of sweat, right? Reproduction. Don't you think all the living organisms continue the race? Yes, in order to increase their number? Definitely. Reproduction. So these are few examples for the life processes. And even the living organisms, they respond to the stimulus, definitely to the heat, pain and temperature. For all these things we respond. So the response to stimulus, that is control and coordination and also the growth, all these come under the life processes. Okay. So this makes the difference between a living organism and the non-living organism, which makes the living organism to survive and which makes the non-living organism which doesn't show all these processes. So it is completely different from the living organism. So look at the slide, that is life processes here. Just now I told you that is nutrition. We generally take the food containing carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, right, along with refuges and water, which I dealt you in the last session. Next, coming to the transportation, respiration, excretion, reproduction and metabolism. All these are different processes, okay, which a living organism perform. So they come under life processes. So here I want to show one thing, that is, what is this? One of the life process, that is, just now I told you, nutrition. Whatever you take the food, it should be digested. So that is our topic, that is digestion. So today our topic is digestion. So today our topic is digestion. Got it? So what is this digestion? What is digestion? So digestion is nothing but, here you can see the definition of digestion. Breakdown of large insoluble food molecules into small water soluble food molecules. Okay, that is, whatever the complex molecules are there, okay, larger molecules that are digested or that are broken down into very small pieces which are absorbed by the body and which are dissolved in the water, that can be easily absorbed by the body. So this is the definition of digestion. So here I want to show you one activity. Here we have come across two words, that is large insoluble food molecules and the other is small water soluble food molecules. So this I want to show you by the activity. Okay. So see this. Take two glasses. Okay. In these two glasses you take water. So here almost nearly half of the glass contains water. You fill the glass with water. So in one of the glass I am just keeping this, okay, I am just putting the one biscuit. Okay, here in this glass you can see I just dropped a biscuit in this water, okay, and left it, and take a spoon, just try to dissolve this. Okay, take a spoon, try to dissolve it. Okay, now see this. Is this completely soluble? Do you think is this completely soluble? At the bottom you can see the pieces of biscuit. Okay, at the bottom you can see almost the pieces of the biscuit, right? So this is not completely soluble. So whatever we eat like food, it is also not completely soluble directly in the mouth itself. Okay, so there need to be lot of process should be done. So a lot of process is going on in the digestive system. Then it comes to the last point, that is the food turns into water soluble molecules. So here in the mouth it becomes like this, like pieces, just it is not completely soluble. Now take another glass. Now this is a Glucon-D powder, right? Just try to dissolve it with a spoon. Yes. Now see this. Is it completely soluble or not? Yeah, this is completely soluble. Why? This is almost Glucon-D powder. It is almost, it's a simple form of carbohydrate. That is, the glucose is simple form of carbohydrate, right? So this is easily soluble in the water. So in the process of digestion, okay, the digestive system breaks, or in the process of digestion what happens, the large insoluble food molecules are broken down to very small water soluble food molecules. So this I want to show insoluble, soluble. Okay. Now here little bit I want to focus on solute, solvent and solution concept. Okay. So in this activity what we have taken? We have taken biscuit in one glass and that we try to dissolve in water, right, and this made one sort of solution. Okay. So this biscuit is nothing but it is a solute and here water is known as solvent, and the solute and solvent together will become solution. Okay. So now in the other activity, that is in second part of the activity, we have taken glucose powder. So we have taken glucose which is a solute and we dissolve that in water and that is a solvent and this made into a solution. So in the second we have taken glucose, okay, which is a solute, and water which is a solvent, and they made a solution. Here we can see soluble glucose in the solution. So what I want to say is here the one which we are adding to the water is known as solute. Here biscuit, here glucose, and in which medium we are dissolving, it is known as solvent, that is water. Okay. So here these solute and solvent together make a solution. Got it? So water is known as universal solvent. Water is known as universal solvent because it has a capacity to dissolve many number of substances. So it is known as universal solvent. So in this way, after the digestion, the complex insoluble food components are broken down to simple absorbable food components or food molecules. Got it? Next, we will move to the next part of the session. Okay, the next part of the session contains the types of digestion. Got it? Here, just now we have seen the definition of digestion. Now we are going to see what are the types of digestion. Okay. So coming to the types of digestion, they are of two types. Generally they are of two types. Got it? So types of digestion. So coming to type of digestion, they are of two types. Okay. The first one is known as mechanical digestion. Okay. The first type is known as mechanical digestion. What is the other name? It is also known as physical digestion. Okay. Mechanical or physical digestion. Got it? The first one is physical or mechanical digestion, and the second one is known as chemical digestion. Okay. Chemical digestion. So you might have a question, you want to know what is this physical and what is this chemical digestion. Physical digestion is the digestion done mechanically. That is a food. If you take any food, if it is broken down to pieces, okay, then it is physical digestion. Where does it occur? It occurs in the mouth. Okay, and teeth plays a very important role in the physical digestion. Okay, they masticate the food with the help of the tongue, jaws and saliva. Okay, they masticate the food and turn them into small pieces. Okay, So the physical digestion or mechanical digestion occurs in the mouth. Got it? So here you see, here you can see what is the physical digestion. Let me just show you an activity regarding this. Suppose here you see, I am taking a paper plate and just I am taking a biscuit in this. Okay, so I am taking a paper plate and biscuit. This is normal food what we eat. What happens in the mouth to this food? It is broken down to pieces with the help of our teeth, like this. Yes or no? In this small way, okay, the food is broken down to small pieces in the mouth with the help of the teeth. This is known as physical digestion or mechanical digestion. Got it? So here in the slide also you can see, here a food item is there, okay, and that is broken down into different pieces. See here, under physical or mechanical digestion. Got it? Next, moving on to the chemical digestion. Okay, chemical digestion. So what is this chemical digestion? Chemical digestion means here chemicals are involved. What sort of chemicals are involved? Nothing but enzymes. So enzymes play a very important role in the chemical digestion. What are these enzymes? Enzymes are known as chemical scissors. Okay, they are like scissors. Okay, they act like scissors and they break down the bigger molecules into smaller ones. So here this is happening in presence of enzymes. That's why this was known as chemical digestion. Okay, so you look at this slide here. Yeah, under chemical digestion, you can see a large long carbohydrate molecule here. A long carbohydrate molecule is there, right? And that with the help of digestive enzymes. In the digestive system, there are many enzymes which are released, which help in the digestion of the carbohydrates. Suppose you take amylase, okay, which is released in the mouth. Okay, that act as a scissors and it cuts this large carbohydrate molecule into small pieces. So this comes under chemical digestion. Got it? So for this, I want to show one activity symbol. So now this is a carbohydrate molecule. Suppose this is an enzyme. Okay. Now with the help of these enzymes, what happens? This carbohydrate molecule, okay, which is a very big polysaccharide, and that is broken down into small pieces. Okay, in this way this is broken down to small pieces. So in this way the enzymes act in our body. They are known as chemical scissors. They are known as scissors. Why? Because they cut the molecule, big molecule or large molecule into smaller ones. Okay, so this is about the chemical digestion. Now you got the point. What is digestion? That is breakdown of large insoluble food molecules into simple soluble absorbable molecules which is absorbed in the blood. What are the types of digestion? One is physical digestion, which is mediated by the teeth. The other is chemical digestion, that is mediated by the enzymes. Got it? Okay. Now we'll move to the next part of the session. Just now we have seen about the different types of digestion, among that about the physical digestion. There I told you that teeth play a very important role in the physical digestion or mechanical digestion, right? Here you can see the teeth. First, let me tell you some points regarding the teeth. Okay, So have you any time observed your teeth? Are they same or different? Are they hanging or they are just embedded in the socket of the bone? Yes. So coming to the teeth. So these teeth are generally, they are embedded in the socket of the jawbone. Here you can see no jaw. So in that jaw, the teeth are embedded. So that's why they are known as thecodont. Okay, that's why they are known as thecodont, because they are embedded in the socket of the jawbone. Okay, and since in human being generally, in our lifetime generally, we see two sets of teeth. Okay, one is deciduous teeth or milk teeth, the other is what? Permanent teeth or adult teeth. Okay, there are two sets of teeth in the lifetime of the human beings. One is milk or deciduous teeth, the other is adult teeth or permanent teeth. Since two types of teeth we come across in the lifetime, that's why they are called diphyodont dentition. So this is diphyodont dentition. Next, coming to teeth. Do you think all the teeth are same? No, they are of different types, right? So since they are of different types, all are not same, all are not uniform. That's why we call them as heterodont. What we call them as? Heterodont. Okay. So these are the different names based on the reason. Okay. Heterodont. So heterodont includes different types of teeth are present. Got it? So what are the different types of teeth? Generally we face four types of teeth. Okay. Generally we observe four types of teeth in our mouth. What are they? One is incisors, the other is canines, the other is premolars, and the last but not the least is molars. Got it? So what are the different teeth or different types of teeth we observe in human beings? Generally four types. Okay. What are they? One is incisors, canines, premolars, molars. Got it? So in this picture you see here, these are the incisors which are at the front. Okay. And here these are the canines which are sharp. And next coming to the premolars. Next last they are the molars. Now observe this. Incisors. Incisors are used to cut the food. Okay. They are helpful to cut the food. Coming to the canines. Canines help to tear the food. Okay. Canines help to tear the food. Premolars and molars. Okay. Premolars and molars help in crushing the food. They help in crushing the food. So in this way, different types of teeth are useful for digestion. Okay. That is incisors for cutting the food, canines tearing the food, premolars and molars for crushing the food. Got it? So next, generally how many teeth are present in human beings? So there is a formula for this, dental formula. Okay, we call it as a dental formula. So we'll see what is the dental formula in human beings. So generally in the human beings 32 teeth are present. Okay, 32 teeth are present. Now what is the dental formula? How can you say 32? Okay, so this is a dental formula. Suppose you take the upper jaw and suppose you take the lower jaw. Okay, so the arrangement of different types of teeth is in the form of like this: 2 1 2 3, 2 1 2 3. The same continues here also. Okay, 2 1 2 3, 2 1 2 3. So this is the dental formula. So 2 means here 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, 1 molars. Okay, so here also the same: incisors, canines, premolars, molars. So in half of the jaw, okay, in this part, how many you can see? That is 2 1 2 3, that is how much? 8. So 8 plus 8, how many? 16. So upper jaw contains 16, lower jaw contains 16 teeth. So totally 32 teeth. Okay, this is known as dental formula. So generally we write it as 2 1 2 3 by 2 1 2 3. So this is the dental formula. Got it? So in this way generally we contain 32 types of teeth. Generally 32 teeth are present, that is they come under 4 categories. Got it? So observe this slide. So do you think this set of arrangement, is it made to eat vegetarian food or non-vegetarian food in human beings? Yeah, definitely by this we can say that we are made to eat only vegetarian food. Then why are we eating non-veg? Depending on the changes, depending on the due course of time evolution, okay, we are eating even non-veg food. But our teeth as a part of evolution, okay, depending on the arrangement, we can say that we are made to eat only vegetarian food. Got it? Next, the next part of this session is regarding the digestive system. Okay, digestive system. So what does the digestive system consist of? Generally the digestive system consists of 2 main things. What are they? So digestive system is made up of first part, which is known as alimentary canal. Okay, digestive system is made up of alimentary canal. This is also known as gut. Okay, this is also known as gut, and along with glands, the glands associated with the digestion. So digestive system contains 2 parts. One is alimentary canal or gut, and second one is the glands associated with the digestion. Those are digestive glands. Okay, so in this slide you can see the digestive system, right? The digestive system contains alimentary canal, I told, no, that starts with the mouth and ends with the anus. Okay, so the alimentary canal or gut starts with the mouth. From the mouth the food moves into the pharynx. After pharynx, esophagus. After esophagus, okay, the food slowly moves into small intestine and finally into the last part of the intestine, that is large intestine, and comes out by anus, which is the last part of the large intestine. Okay, so these are the different parts of the digestive system, that is alimentary canal of the digestive system. Next, here you can see the glands, right? These are the different glands associated with the digestion. What are they? The first one are the salivary glands. Here you can see near the ear, near the jaw. So these are the salivary glands. This help in the digestion of the carbohydrates by releasing an enzyme called ptyalin or salivary amylase. So this helps in digestion of the carbohydrates. So here we can say the digestion starts from the mouth itself with the release of the saliva, and this saliva mixes the food properly and makes it wet and becomes soft. Okay. Next, here is the liver. This liver releases bile juice which is stored in the gallbladder, and next it is sent by the hepatopancreatic duct into the duodenum part of the small intestine. So this liver contains bile juice. Got it? So this bile juice, it helps in emulsification of the fats, that is breakdown of large fat molecules into simple ones. Next, coming to this leaf like structure, okay, this is pancreas. Okay, so this pancreas releases the enzymes such as trypsin lipase, which helps in the digestion of proteins and fats. So these are the few glands associated with the digestive system. That is, one is salivary glands, liver, pancreas. Got it? Next, we will move to the next part, that is chemical digestion. Okay. So just now at the starting of the session I told you different types of digestion. Okay, one is physical and chemical. There with the help of scissors I told you that the chemical digestion occurs or mediated by means of the enzymes which cut the large molecules into smaller ones. So here in the chemical digestion you can see the first one, this is a protein molecule. Okay, the first one is a protein molecule. This is broken down under the action of the enzyme protease into simple basic units of proteins, that is amino acids. Here you can see, no, here a protein molecule is made up of a chain of amino acids, different amino acids. So after the action of this enzyme you can find the protein is broken down to simpler forms of proteins, that is amino acids, the basic units of proteins. Next, second, this is a starch molecule, okay, and it is made up of many glucose units. You can see here and there many glucose units. Okay, so this is a enzyme carbohydrates which act on carbohydrates. Okay, carbohydrase is an enzyme acting on carbohydrates. Okay, this breaks down the big starch molecule into simple glucose units. So here you can see simple glucose units. Got it? The last one here you can see, this is a fat molecule made up of fatty acids, and this is the glycerol. So fats contain fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, so this is mediated by the enzyme lipase. So under the action of the lipase enzyme, the lipids, okay, the fats are broken down to fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, they are broken down to fatty acids and glycerol. So here I am going to show you one activity. Okay, so as you have seen there, proteins. So this is a protein. Okay, this is a protein molecule, and this is broken down under the supervision of the enzyme protease into simple units like this. Okay, this is amino acids. Got it? This is a protein molecule under the action of enzyme protease, it is broken to simple amino acids. And here you can see this is a carbohydrate. Okay, it is a carbohydrate molecule. Okay, and this is broken down to simple sugars with the help of carbohydrase enzyme. Okay, under the action of carbohydrase enzyme. And next, this is a fat molecule. Okay, this is a fat molecule, and this fat molecule is broken down into simple fats, that is fatty acids and glycerol. This is the fat molecule, right? So after the action of lipase enzyme, what happens? The fatty acids are separated and the glycerol is separated. So it is broken down to fatty acids and glycerol. Okay. Next, this is a flow chart of digestion. So right now I told you like what are the different parts of the alimentary canal. Okay, what are the different glands which are associated with the digestion. Now let us see the flow chart of digestion. Got it? So here you can see the flow chart of digestion. In the mouth, okay, the ingestion occurs. Ingestion means whatever the food is taken in the mouth, it is called ingestion, and some mechanical and chemical digestion takes place. Mechanical, how? Just now I told you, with the help of the teeth. Okay, the teeth, with the help of teeth, tongue, jaws. Okay, they mechanically digest the food, and chemically by the release of the enzyme in the mouth, that is in the saliva, that is ptyalin or salivary amylase. So the digestion starts itself, the enzymatic action starts itself in the mouth. Next, coming to the next part, that is esophagus. Esophagus is a long tube. Okay, through peristalsis movement, the food from the mouth enters into the stomach. Here no reaction or no digestion takes place in the esophagus. Got it? Next, coming to the stomach. In the stomach, mechanical digestion and also the chemical digestion takes place. Mechanical by the movement of churning movement of the stomach, and the chemical digestion with the help of the HCl and with the help of the pepsin, the enzymes which are released in the stomach. From the stomach, the food is, which is almost in the very soft paste like structure, which is known as chyme, that moves into the small intestine. So here in the small intestine also chemical digestion with the help of enzymes and takes place where the most of the food molecules are broken down to simple forms and which are absorbed with the help of villi into the blood. Here maximum water and nutrients absorption takes place, and after that the food is sent to the large intestine. Here some sort of water still, if it is remaining, that is also absorbed. Okay, and next the undigested food, okay, the waste material is sent out through the rectum and after that by the anus, and this is known as egestion, and this is also known as defecation. That is the removal of waste from the body, undigested food from the body through anus is known as egestion or defecation. So this is about the process of digestion. Got it? From mouth to esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and after that to the undigested food comes out through the anus, and that process is called egestion or defecation. Next, what are the disorders of digestive system? Just now we have seen different things regarding the digestive system. What are the parts of the digestive system? What are the glands associated with the digestion? The process of digestion. Now we will see the disorders of digestive system. Even this system may go wrong or it may not function properly because of some infection of bacteria or virus or something else, or parasites or worms. So we will see few disorders of digestive system. Okay, the first one is jaundice. So in jaundice what happens? The bile pigment which is released by the liver, it gets accumulated in the body. As a result, the yellowish skin, and you can see yellow colored in the urine, and the eyes also, white part of the eye also turns yellow because of the accumulation of bile pigment, that is due to improper function of the liver. Okay, this results in jaundice. Next, vomiting. So if you eat any food which is not digested in the body, in your digestive system, or too much oily food if you eat, or if something which is contaminated by any microorganisms, which is unhealthy food, you will get vomitings. Next, diarrhea. That is, this is frequent bowel movement with lot of liquids going out, passing out of the body, which makes the person weak. And next disorder is constipation. This is irregular bowel movement. So the person suffering from constipation should take lot of roughages so that the digestive system is set in a proper condition. Next, indigestion. Indigestion means here if a person is taking more food than the required one, okay, overeating, and if the enzymes are also not released in adequate proportion, or if he is taking too much spicy food or too oily food, all this results in indigestion. So these are few disorders of the digestive system, that is jaundice, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation and indigestion. Next, just now I told you, even the digestive system can get upset because of eating of some sort of contaminated food. So actually how the food is contaminated? Who is causing it to get it spoiled? None other than microorganisms like bacteria, virus, right? So bacteria, especially like Salmonella, Shigella, Clostridium, okay, they spoil the food, meat, okay, mostly meat, fish, all this. And if the food, if it is not cooked properly, or if it is just after cooking kept open, then also it leads to some sort of contamination by the flies or by the microorganisms like bacteria, and some sort of diseases will be getting if we eat such contaminated food. So the diseases caused due to eating of contaminated food or by the intake of contaminated food are known as foodborne diseases. Okay, so here you can see the source of contamination, that is the transfer of bacteria. And here, potentially hazardous foods. Potentially hazardous foods means the food which are easily spoiled if they are not maintained at proper temperature, and if they are not taken care properly, if they are not maintained in proper temperature in proper time, then they get spoiled easily, especially the meat, dairy products or salads or fruits. If they are cut open, easily they get spoiled. So if by taking such sort of food also, what happens? It leads to foodborne diseases. And if the food is kept open, okay, and for a long time and warm conditions, what happens? It is a good indication to grow bacteria in such foods. Intake of such foods will leads to food poisoning. Okay, intake of such foods will lead to food poisoning, like by bacteria or which is totally contaminated. Eating that food leads to food poisoning. So here you can see the symptoms of food poisoning. Yes, okay. Symptoms of food poisoning, that is here stomach upset, fever, diarrhea, dehydration, vomiting. Got it? So these are the 4 rules of the safety. You should follow these, then the food will be safe. That is clean, maintain cleanliness, separate raw meat from the other food, Okay. Next, cook properly and store the food at proper temperature in the refrigerators. Okay. So just now I told you bacteria, all these are nothing but they are a part of microorganisms. So you can see this microorganisms are the microscopic living things. Okay. They are of different types: protista, fungi, bacteria, virus. We get useful things out of these microorganisms like decomposition, okay, making food, medicines. What are the harmful ones? That is getting diseases. So by maintaining proper hygiene conditions, we can avoid these harmful things. So the summary is we came across life processes, which are the basic units or basic functions to survive, definition of digestion, breaking down of large molecules to simple absorbable ones, digestive system, physiology of digestion, foodborne diseases due to bacteria, and microbial world, different types of microorganisms. So one last thing, that is today's wastage is tomorrow's shortage. So here you can see many people are wasting food, throwing here and there. So GHMC in the year 2019 it created a food bank. Okay, it made an innovative program, that is food bank. Under this session, okay, this is a food bank created by GHMC. So whatever the surplus food is there, they will send to this food bank. Okay, in this food bank it is stored and it is given to the needy people. Okay, that is under the program Feed the Need. Under the program Feed the Need, GHMC along with some NGOs, okay, they made this food bank, and the surplus food is donated to the needy people. So project work is write the common reasons and steps to reduce food waste. The other thing is write a note on origin of antibiotics. Okay, thank you.